Now what you gonna do?
I'm gonna empty the gun on it.
Now what gonna happen when you do that?
I'm gonna go to prison
Why you gonna go to prison?
because that's overkill.
Yep. Now go over there and shit it though. TJ, I know you had. Now, y'all, this is obviously a staged event. We got TJ down there. He's been shot several times by the homeowner. Now, why are we doing this? What is this about, y'all? On the real. TJ, if you get hot, let me know because I know it's hot in here with that helmet. We did this little crazy skit for y'all to show something I want to talk about. Is we joking about the skit, but what we talking about is serious. Now, I saw somebody put up something the other day, and they were talking about shoot to kill in home defense and stuff like that. I want to just give y'all a tip, and let me say this first: I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police officer, and I'm not trying to give you legal advice. But I wanted to talk about something I want to talk about some observations I've made and some things that I've seen happen in the past. One, if there's a situation where you're in your life is being threatened, in most states and most municipalities, you have the right to defend yourself against serious bodily harm or the threat of death with lethal force. And a lot of times that lethal force means a handgun. Now, at the same time, I like to tell people that you have a right to use deadly force to defend yourself, but you do not have a right to kill. And a lot of people kind of get that mixed up sometimes. And what do you mean by that? In the process of defending yourself with a firearm or a knife or whatever you may have it, a person who's aggressing against you, an assailant, may die in the process. You know what I mean? If you shoot them, there's a chance they're going to die. And if you shot them, it should have been because they were in the process of a forcible felony where they were, threatening your life or putting your life at hazard, and you use deadly force to counter that. And in doing so, the death is more of the death of the assailant is more of a concomitant factor. It's something that may go along with it. But you don't want to ever give the insinuation or the idea, especially if the shoot turns out to be questionable. You don't want to give that idea to a jury that you had the intention or the desire to kill the person who was attempting to assault you. Now, we know people may go through that emotionally. That might be an emotional thing. You come in and catch somebody attacking your wife, it's a good chance you're going to kill them. You know what I mean? But that's not, a lot of times that's just a natural kind of an emotional response because you're caught up in the moment. But you have to be careful about that. Even because, like I tell people, just like with war, same thing with, combative defense. You have to keep your mind about you and try not to lose it, because sometimes if you lose your mind and you let the emotions of the moment get you, you may end up being prosecuted along with the person. They may end up dead and you may end up prosecuted. And that's what you don't want. Say, for instance, TJ, in this case, he came in the house and he was forcing his way into her house. He was a stranger forcing his way into her house. She, Nanda drew her weapon and shot TJ. Okay, he falls down. Now, TJ, play like you're still alive and you're still in the game. You're not dead. Let's move around a little bit like, oh, you moaning. You hit. Now, Nandi, walk up to him, and this has happened. Now, I know a case where this happened for real, and the person who did is in prison now. Someone forced their way into their house. They shot the person. They took the gun away from the person. They actually didn't even have a gun. They took the gun away from the person who was breaking into their house. They shot him. The person fell down, and then they walked over like some people may do, and they fired one more round into the person's head and killed him. They went to prison for that. They went to prison because at that point it became manslaughter. You use your firearm to stop the violence against you, or to try to, basically, you're using your weapon to stop the aggression against you. And once that aggression has ceased and that person no longer represents a threat, you have no obligation to continue to engage them. Now, you may be able to get away with that because America's changing. America's becoming a place where everybody want to kill somebody. Everybody want to be the good guy and say there's a good kill. There's no such thing as a good killing. There's a such thing as necessary killing. Sometimes people have to, people die, sometimes it's necessary for people to fall, that others may be saved. And especially those people in the wrong who do fall. But there is no good killing. There are no good guys. They're just the way it is. And you want to keep that in your mind. You cannot do the coup de grace. You can't finish people off. And that's very important to know that. Even in some cases, if you might be of certain privileges, you can probably do what you want to do. But still, you can get caught up with legal ramification behind that, and you can get caught up with federal charges behind that, violating people's human rights. You have the right to defend yourself. You do not have the right to kill people. You do not have that right, and you want to make sure that you keep that your mind about you. You don't want to let a criminal turn you into a criminal. You know what I mean? You do what's necessary to protect yourself and to stop that person. And I know everybody get kind of emotional about it and they get egotistical about it, but you'll end up in a bad situation not thinking, having certain attitudes. Another thing, TJ, you can get up now. We appreciate that. Appreciate you being a bad guy. You cannot shoot through your door. You know what I mean? If you have a threat outside, if a threat is outside, I don't care if a person out there claiming they're going to kill you and this and that. You call the police. You may to find your safe position in the house to hold. And, you know, if they kick in the door and they enter your premise now, then it's game on. Saying there's a difference too. We had a situation one time before. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it was a personal situation where we had some people enter our garage. And, you know, I captured them. And, you know, the people actually was funny because the people were telling the police I had a gun. And the police were like, he could have shot you if he wanted to. And we got into a little conversation. And the officer was actually telling us there's a difference between where your line of defense lies, even in your property. Like if you have she was telling us if we had a carport is not considered a part of the home, believe it or not. Where a garage is, I don't know if it's something about it has
carport is not enclosed.
It's not enclosed. Okay, so that's the thing. You have to be careful. A lot of people have carports, and you have to know the law. You really have to kind of you always want to side in your favor. Even if a situation calls for violence, if you can maintain the situation without using violence and just have a threat of violence, that's better than using the violence. If you can give people commands and they comply, then let them comply with the commands. Don't put yourself in a position to be harmed. Don't go down and start trying to put handcuffs or plastic cuffs on them. You know what I mean? But if you hold them at gunpoint till you can reach people who can come pick them up. You know what I mean? And then if they fail to comply, then you engage them as needed. To gain compliance. It's a technical thing, and you have to be advised to that. You can't shoot. You don't want to just shoot people, even if you're on your property. If you're in a fenced-in property, somebody jump over your fence and come to your backyard, you can't just shoot them because they're there. They have to represent a threat to your life. If they keep coming at you and, you know, they don't stop and, you know, they acting violent, then you probably can get away with it. Not saying you can't get away with it, but you have to be thoughtful about what you're doing, and you have to understand that beyond the ego and talking online, that shit get real when the detectives show up. It get real when people come investigating and they measuring stuff out, got the tape out, trying to see if what you said adds up to what's happened. And a lot of time, I'm telling you, another just a tip. A lot of time, if you get in a self-defense situation, keep your mouth shut, be respectful to the police officer. They start asking you what happened, like, look, I'm in a, and you are going to be in a kind of a shaky state of mind because you just shot somebody, just went through a traumatic event, and you want to tell them, look, with all due respect, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'll give you a statement tomorrow. I'm nerved up. I'm shaken by what happened, and I can't give you all I can tell you is that they threatened me. I felt threatened. They came in, you know, I felt threatened and I defended myself. You just keep saying that line over and over again. And as long as that's true, that will be easy for you. But when you know that a person was no longer a threat to you or something happened and you finished them off, then that's going to put some doubt in the back of your mind. It's going to make your story shaky. And don't try to talk your way out of it. Don't say anything. Just wait. Get your attorney, get your lawyer if necessary, or tell them you'll talk to them tomorrow and just keep your story the same. I felt threatened for my life and I defended myself. Nothing else. Nothing else. And do not finish people off. Do not shoot through doors. Do not shoot people just because they on your property. And do not shoot people. If you shoot somebody in the head while they laying on the ground, the coroner is going to be able to reconstruct that. They're going to be able to tell with those rounds, hey, he was standing in there. They got that technology now. They got lasers. They can tell exactly the angle where you were when you fired at somebody. Blood splatter, blood signatures, gunpowder residue, a lot of different things to tell on you. So don't be stupid and don't be emotional. But that's why training is so important. A lot of people get guns thinking somebody come to my house, I'm going to shoot. People make a lot of bad decisions and they end up in prison. Peace. Alien Black.